My mom woke up me and said that war began and we had to flee.
As the war broke out, it felt like such a big problem that I couldn't really meaningfully help. But then I realized that these wonderfully talented Ukrainian students don't have access to education now. Maybe I can use my position in various ways to help these students.
The futures of Ukraine's most promising STEM Olympiads was turned upside down when schools closed. But a professor at Cambridge launched a powerful effort to ensure this community isn't left behind. They're now known as Griffin Scholars. Over 1,000 miles and a world away from war in Ukraine. Hello. Cambridge University's first Griffin Scholars consider just how much their lives have changed.
I think for me, it's like a British way of making soups. I don't like it, no.
When I was a kid, I couldn't imagine that I will have an opportunity to apply here.
But how these outstanding math students have overcome so many obstacles to be here is a story that begins with Dr. Ferenc Huszár.
I find myself a little bit lucky to have ended up in Cambridge. I studied in Eastern Europe, I'm from Hungary, and I was lucky to have found a mentor there. Without that mentor, I probably would not be here today. And so when the war broke out, I immediately realized there is this opportunity for me specifically to help the best students who are affected by the war. Essentially, the next day, I started putting together an online sign-up form for these students.
Ferenc and other volunteers shared this form on several platforms, hoping to reach the Ukrainian math community, particularly students who have excelled in the hardest math competitions in the world. Students like Lisa, a Math Olympiad gold medalist. She found his sign-up form while seeking refuge in Germany.
My friend sent me this link. Ferenc posted a message that he got a little bit of money and he can spend it on helping Ukrainian students.
Ferenc had roughly $10,000 to support the community.
Some people needed, say, laptops. Some other people needed access to some kind of online learning opportunities.
These initial steps helped, but to support this Olympiad community, with great potential to contribute to the world and their home country, a bolder plan was needed.
It became clear that there are some very, very talented students where the best way to help would be to help them move to the UK and take up a place at a university like Cambridge.
But bringing Ukrainian students to Cambridge would dramatically increase the scale of this effort.
So at that point, we realized that we needed more support for these students. And this is how I got introduced to Ken Griffin. It was very, very clear that he wanted to help Ukraine. I was really amazed by how quickly he joined to support this community. After a couple of conversations, Ken was already pledging millions of dollars of funding to this project. And this was the point when the project transitioned from a grassroots project to something that eventually evolved into the Griffin Scholarships.
And one of the first students Ferenc reached out to was Lisa.
And he says that there is a scholarship that's called Griffin Scholarship.
Lisa moved to the UK to join the first cohort of Griffin Scholars, including Ihor, an International Math Olympiad two-time gold medalist.
It will be completely impossible to live and study here without this scholarship.
And Svitoslav, two-time IMO silver medalist.
It gives us opportunity to develop our thoughts.
Ferenc projects that with Griffin's support, they'll add an additional 30 students to the program next year.
So the goal of the Griffin Scholarship is to enable the most talented Ukrainians to study at top institutions in Europe or in the US with expenses and tuition covered.
The scholars also tutor kids back home to strengthen the Ukrainian STEM community, a small way to contribute to their country while studying abroad.
I'm actually going to go back. I really want to change something.
I want to study mathematics and I hope that it will help with rebuilding the Ukraine.
I will definitely do something in order to improve the life of my people.
Investing in some of Ukraine's brightest students is a way of rebuilding communities for the future.
Can I have a copy of this?